I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about the family and the isolation and the drama amongst these people who are supposed to be tight-knit. Now, Meghan's father, we've got to talk about him because he has been so outspoken and public, which at first when I remember all this going on in the media, and I kind of felt bad for Meghan because I was like, why is her dad like out here talking? But I feel like he's kind of a victim of her manipulation.
There is no denying that Thomas Markle shoulders some of the blame for the breakdown of his relationship with his daughter.
This story is going to come out tomorrow saying that your father's been staging pictures and taking money from the press. And I was like, what kind of pictures?
Before her wedding, he was caught out engaging in staged paparazzi photos in exchange for cash, something he now says he deeply regrets.
I think Harry should take the lead here and try to put us back together some way.
You think Harry should play the peacemaker?
I think he should. No.
Now, I don't think Meghan's father is an innocent man, and I don't know if he's a great dad. That's not for me to say. But supposedly, Meghan used her estranged relationship with her father to her advantage. Supposedly, Meghan wanted her father to disown his two older children, make that public, and use his invitation to her wedding as an incentive to cut ties with her half-sibling Samantha, who wrote a book, The Diary of a Princess Pushy's Sister, okay, a memoir. And that was one of the shocking revelations that Samantha gave us. Samantha actually has been as outspoken as Meghan's father, which I think is just such a disaster. That's where I feel bad for Meghan. Imagine getting into this position and then having your sister write a book and your father do all this press. And it's just like kind of embarrassing. Her sister Samantha also revealed that it was sad that their father never received a physical invitation to their wedding, which Oprah was there, Alma Clooney was there, all these people that Meghan has only known for a couple of months. Samantha reveals in her book that her father called her a few weeks before the ceremony and she asked him, what's your plan for the wedding? And she got a response of a few moments of silence. She asked him again, like, hey dad, like, did you get invited to this wedding? What's going on? That's whenever he got this off his chest that Meghan had asked him to go and disown the entire family, that he doesn't need Samantha and Tom, trying to turn her father against her other sister, to which he replied, you're asking me to disown my kids. I can't do that. I love you all equally. Upon hearing his response, a dismissive Meghan said, I have nothing more to say. We have nothing more to talk about. At the end, her father watched from a television screen back at home in Mexico, and Samantha was joined by a German television crew for a paid television appearance. So she got her coin on her sister's wedding and wrote that book.
Lost my dad in this. So him as my father-in-law was really important to me. So I asked him to walk me down the aisle, and he said yes.
Is it worth dumping me for the rest of my life? Denying my grandchildren? Is it worth getting rid of her father?
If Meghan was here now, what would you say to her?
Let's go somewhere and talk. And I said, what's wrong? What? How can I fix this? How can I fix this? Of course, I love you, Meg. I love you. I love my grandchildren. I love to see them. I'm open to any kind of conversation.
Samantha was really upset that her father was being treated this way by Meghan because she claims that he had been working really hard on a special speech for her, which he never was able to give her. On May 17th, Meghan announced that her father would not be attending their wedding. The previous day, he had a heart surgery, so the only close relative at her wedding would be her mother, Doria. Unfortunately, Meghan's relationship with her family kind of ends there. I remember her sister doing all of that press, getting all of that money, and things have kind of died down, so they've gone back to their normal lives. But as you guys know, Meghan and Harry's lives completely changed when they dropped out as royals. In 2020, with little to no heads up to the royal family, they have published an announcement saying they were not going to do their job anymore, only the parts they wanted to, that they were going to keep these X and Y benefits. They didn't want to have the responsibility of being royals anymore, but they're still part of the family, so they put out this announcement which completely caught the palace by surprise. After their Netflix docuseries came out, they decided to give give up their titles. They were not happy with the royal family, and they felt like their response to them, like, they keep hurting each other back and forth. So the next big thing they could do is to drop their status, which just makes the family look weak, and it makes the palace look weak. Their statement reads, "After many months of reflection and internal discussions, we have chosen to make a transition this year into starting to carve out a progressive new role within this institution. We intend to step back as senior members of the royal family and to work on becoming financially independent. We will support the Queen, but I guess they're not going to support as a prince and princess, which I don't know what other role they would fill. They stated that in their new lives, they would relocate to North America, and they're not leaving the UK completely, but they wanted to move to America and honestly just become celebrities, which is kind of sad because if you're part of like a monarchy, wouldn't you want to stay back at your country? This is your homeland, like represent it, be proud of it, make it bigger and better and whatever you plan to do. But no, he's just like scooting away to America where they got the cameras and the paparazzis.
While my wife and I were in those chairs, gripping each other's hand, the moment the lights go down, Meghan starts crying. I'm feeling sorry for her, but I'm also really angry with myself that we're stuck in this situation. I was ashamed that it got this bad. I was ashamed to go to my family. Because to be honest with you, like a lot of other people my age could probably relate to, I know that I'm not going to get from my family what I need.
Of course, after this announcement came, they put out a statement that they can't wait to share more about this announcement. Great, another thing to do a press tour on. The announcement, however, threw some of the relevant parties, including Harry and Queen Elizabeth, for a loop. 1 year after dropping the major bombshell, Harry asserted that he didn't blindside the monarch. He said, "I have too much respect for her." Harry explained that he and Meghan felt a lack of support from the palace, and they were trying to tell them that they wanted a way out. They also felt like the British press just continually tried to ruin their marriage, so they wanted the royals to do something, but then there's also like free press. Now, of course, the palace responds because they actually love to respond. They're kind of messy, but they put out a statement saying, "Discussions with the Duke and the Duchess of Sussex are at an early stage. We understand their desire to take a different approach, but these are complicated issues that we will have to work through." Sounds like they're going to try to do some convincing on their part. But after this announcement went public, a lot of people had feelings. I mean, her father, her estranged father, expressed dismay about the news and said, "I'm just simply disappointed." Prince William claims that he was blindsided by Harry and Meghan's decision and statement. William is incredibly hurt, but at the same time, he has his own family to focus on and is trying to move forward with his life. Which I totally get that. I mean, after everything that's gone down, he's so done talking about the past. And of course, if they're going to leave the royal family, then they could like give all their reasons on why they're going to leave. Maybe there are some rules now they want to have uplifted so they could share even more.
Did you know that the exact moment Harry and Meghan decided to step back as royals was after the palace released a statement from Harry and William without Harry's permission? It was apparently right after news leaked that the couple wanted to move to Canada, and William blew up screaming at Harry about the decision. Later that same day, tabloids correctly reported that William low-key bullied Harry out of the family. And the palace immediately was like, no, let's put that rumor to rest, and they put out a joint statement from William and Harry, even though Harry did not approve or even know about it until it was out. So fake statements aside, this was even more insulting because Harry said him and Meghan were constantly asking for help from the institution, but they were very hesitant and very slow to do anything.
Even though William was hurt and Samantha Markle, Meghan's sister, is out here throwing shade, saying that Meghan is not respecting the institution, eventually they came to an agreement and they decided that Harry and Meghan will lose their Royal Highness titles. Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be much loved members of the family. I recognize the challenges they have experienced as a result of intense scrutiny over the last 2 years and support their wish for a more independent life. His brother, Prince William, did not appreciate the uproar, and I'm sure he had to deal with a lot of the backlash because he's at the palace dealing with, the Queen and these people and hearing them out and watching the drama unfold while, Harry and Meghan are out here on the red carpet. But despite the palace trying to put everything back together, they still are a little bit shady, and I do think that Harry and Meghan have a little inkling of truth when it comes to the palace trying to set them up. But also, I think the palace is just kind of calling them on their BS.
Prince Harry is 35. The fact he was 35 and wanted to become financially independent, Why did it take so long? You need to move out. And literally, he doesn't have a job, so he's like, Dad, I need money. And his dad's like, I have to ask Grandma. Because I don't personally have any money. No. I'm still living at home. They're all still living at home. Now, the Queen comes out. She makes a statement. Although we would have preferred them to remain full-time working members of the royal family, shade, we respect and understand their wish to live a more independent life as a family while remaining a valued part of my family. Harry and Meghan have made clear that they do not want to be reliant on public funds in their new lives. Bitch is clipping up her purse.
Nowadays, I would say that Harry and William's relationship is a little bit beyond repair. Before they moved to Montecito, California, Harry's relationship with his older brother took a sharp turn. Quote, William is so tired and done with all the drama. Seeing Harry cut ties with virtually every aspect of his English life and identity is so hard to fathom. Their book, Finding Freedom, definitely did not help the situation because they were pretty much trying to present themselves as like captives of the royal family. So after this book came out, things between Harry and William got so much worse that I don't even think that they are on talking terms, because he just feels like, Harry has completely changed. He's so calculated and he's just trying to control this narrative.
That was one of the biggest reasons to leave. Feeling trapped and feeling controlled through fear, both by the media and by the system itself, which never encouraged the talking about this kind of trauma. But certainly now, I will never be bullied into silence. One of the biggest lessons I've ever learned in life is you've sometimes got to go back and to deal with really uncomfortable situations and to be able to process it in order to be able to heal. For me, therapy has equipped me to be able to take on anything. That's why I'm here now. That's why my wife is here now. That feeling of being trapped within the family is, there was no option to leave.
Now remember, when they left the royal family, they wanted to have an alternative title, but that fell apart. In February 2021, we learned that Harry and Meghan would not be returning as working members of the royal family. They have stepped away, they have moved to California, they have completely left everything behind, so the palace just kind of wants them off their roster. You don't want to be here, then you don't get any of the benefits anymore. Now, a lot of their claims come from financial independence. They want to make their own money and they don't want to be tied down to these responsibilities, which I get. If you're not passionate about the royal family, then, don't be a part of them. But also, this man has never dealt with money in his life, and you could tell in their series and in his book that they do not know what they're doing.
We'd need to find somewhere new and soon, and that would mean paying for our own security. I went back to my notebooks, started contacting security firms again. Meg and I sat down to work out exactly how much security we could afford and how much house. The question of how to pay for a home and security kept Meg and me awake at nights. We could always spend some of my inheritance from Mummy, we said, but that felt like a last resort.
Now, security is not cheap. It would cost almost $2 million a year to have security. And that's why he went on to go and sue the palace for paying for this bill, claiming that he is entitled to security because of his relationship with the family and the scrutiny. But can you imagine? He doesn't even live in the UK, and he wants the UK taxpayers to pay $2 million a year for him.
He is suing the British government for refusing to pay for armed police protection whenever he's in Britain. It's only going to pay on a case-by-case basis, and Harry is so poor, as you know, it's not good enough. Joining me from London is Patrick Christie, star presenter of GB News. Patrick, great to see you again. Does Harry seriously think that taxpayers want to fund his police protection for him and Meghan Markle after the way they've smeared and damaged the royal family over the last 5 years?
This guy's so arrogant that I don't think he gives a damn about British taxpayers, to be perfectly honest with you. The fact is that if you're not going to do your royal duties and you're going to stick the knife in on the way out of this country, then you shouldn't have police officers on duty protecting you when you come to this country. That's not, I think, a controversial view.
The Queen did issue a statement saying, of course, they're going to help him in some capacity, which kind of irritated the public, because like that guy in that news clip, I would be really irritated too. Do you really think you're entitled to this?